Hey everyone, what's up?
What's up, everyone?
Back again with another episode of the Weekly SEO. And today I'm so excited to have Paul. Paul, thank you very much for accepting my invitation to come to the Weekly SEO. I'm so happy for that.
Of course, Roman. Anything for my brother, Roman. Thank you for inviting me.
Right, so there is a lot of people, a lot of comments. Welcome everyone. Today, Paul is here for cover a really special topic in-house SEO and how to be successful as an SEO candidate. So, if you are in the beginning of your career, I think you should stay here. You should comment something or you should ask something to Paul because this is the first time when we have him, and he's a rock star for in-house SEO because he worked for a lot of B2B, B2C companies, and you should stay here. Stay tuned for Paul Andres slides.
Oh,
All right,
yeah.
Paul,
What's up?
tell us something we don't know about you.
All right, all right. Well, this right here is what I currently do, right? I'm currently the search global marketing lead at a company called Workday. It's a $5 revenue annually, and it's like a big, $60 billion company. And previously, I was at a company called SAP, Anaplan, and SmartRecruiters. And besides that, on the side, I'm still pretty busy. Like I keep myself busy by doing some clients. I handle some clients. My agency is called Dream Digital, Dre.me. And then, as you know, I have an SEO video show where I actually do this for fun. So I love SEO. If you can see my background right here, it says I love SEO, and that's something I love doing, and it's something why I keep on like keeping my skills sharp by interviewing other people's. I interviewed you on the show, which was awesome. Thank you for all the knowledge bombs you dropped on that show. Um, and so I wanted to go ahead and and the one fun fact about myself. You can go ahead and look on the next slide. Check this out,
Yeah.
guys.
Oh,
All right. If you
that's
guys
awesome.
didn't know, I get this asked all the time, like, "Hey, what's your background?" I mean, right in college, I was a party promoter, so that's why I was able to learn how to get things hyped up, and that's why I had this voice and just be able to pump up the crowd and stuff like that. So my company was called Papa SF, and everyone called me Papa Dre. And you can see I had my gold teeth there, like on the very, very bottom. I said Papa Dre on there with all these diamonds and everything. So yeah, I was a party promoter. I had two mohawks, so I was definitely a rock star, like when I was younger. And it's something where even back then I was actually ranking for number one for San Francisco nightlife, San Francisco parties, and so my guest list was huge. I was getting so many people partying at my parties, and it's like people I've never met before. And it was a mixed crowd because people would just go onto Google and just search what's the San Francisco party? What's the party in San Francisco? And and then so what my tagline was, your daddy at parties.
Whoa, that's cool. You are still a rock star, by the way.
Well, I calmed down, right? I have like maybe just one almost like mohawk, but it's not two anymore.
Yeah. So my name is Roman Adamita. I'm here with Paul, but it's not about me. So I will let the flash for him. What you will cover today.
All right, all right. So what I'm covering today is, but the goal of this session is to make sure I help you guys become successful in-house NCOs from the beginning to the end and until you get hired, right? I want you to get noticed by recruiters, like in the hiring managers at the companies. I wanted to help you get hired at the company, and I want to make sure you become successful in the company. And then we're going to go through those three different things that will help you become a successful in-house SEO at big companies.
Let's see that. All right.
All right. So why should you do this now, right? Why should you become an in-house SEO? Just last year, there was a report by Microsoft, right? It was like trends that define the next decade. So within the next 10 years, they defined SEO as a marketing skill that is a hard skill that everyone should know. It's one of the top 10 skills that people should know. And believe it or not, even in my in-house, like my own organization, SEO is still somewhat new to them, or they think it's like something like a mystery, or like more like a little black box that something happens. Like, oh, okay, just let Dre do it. No, but I mean, people should understand what it is and why it's so helpful for the company, right? It should be more. It's what drives that organic traffic, right? And check this out. I just looked in the U.S. only, and there's over 25,000 jobs that have SEO in the title or in the job description. Can you believe that? We are short of SEOs, which is why one of the main reasons why I started the SEO video shows, because I want to help others become the SEO and make that great salary. Even if you're a consultant, even being a consultant can be even more lucrative, but even getting a gig, a job at one of these huge companies can be very, very lucrative. Like I know I was talking to Kevin Indig one time, and he was telling me like on the average here in San Francisco Bay Area or in the major markets in the US, SEOs with over 10 plus years of experience can easily make 300 grand. And $300,000 is, that's a pretty good amount of money, right? So I feel that's something that anyone can get in. Starting salaries can be between like 60, 80,000, but within 10 years, 300,000, you'll be living the life. Right?
Oh yeah, definitely. And
Yeah.
if you're looking how many websites is in the web, like on Google, just search on Google a little word like clothes. When you search for that, there is millions of websites. So if you think every website should have an SEO, then it's very important to know these things.
Exactly. All right, guys. So let's get it off started here. How do you get noticed, right? How do you let the recruiters know that you are actually looking for a job? How do you know if which company you want to is hiring for an SEO? Of course, you got to go on LinkedIn, right? You go on LinkedIn. I know even Alita Solis has job postings within her newsletters, but just pay attention to like all these job boards that actually features and looking for SEOs. But you know what? You need to stand out. I mean, even though there's that many jobs, getting hired at a corporate company, enterprise company, there's a certain standard, right? So you have to make sure you have yourself like really, really well prepared when you get interviewed or even when you get recruited. So the first thing I did back when I was like, I started my career as a web developer 20 years ago. And I actually started looking for becoming an SEO after this girl I was dating was telling me she was a doctor, and she was saying she had a patient that was saying, hey, she does SEO too, and she was like making this certain amount of money, and I was like, "What? She's making that amount of money?" I was like, "Man, that's more than a web developer." So so I started applying. I started applying on LinkedIn. That was my choice. And what I did was, you have to think about it. LinkedIn is also another type of search engine, so you have to make sure you optimize your profile, right? Optimize your profile, add in the keywords, add in all the skills, and add that all in so your profile gets found when other recruiters are looking for it. And check this out. Here's a quick tip that I did. Go to the company's job postings that you have, right? See which companies are posting the actual job. Copy that job posting and make sure you put all those skills on your profile right before you apply. So when they look at your profile, they're like, "Oh, that's everything we need." So make sure you do that right before you apply, so they can see it. Make sure you add all these things that they have in the skills requirement, the things that are they want to look for in the candidate. Make sure that's in your profile. All right, and that would be something really, really helpful for you to get hired. All right, another thing now is with video. I mean, before back then, it wasn't all about video, right? I mean, I had my cover letter, I wrote it out. But I'll tell you this: I had a resume, and my resume was not just an ordinary resume. You have to make sure you include create your resume like an infographic. So before, I went beyond just the traditional text resume, the CVs, and I actually I made it like an infographic. So I create your resume like an infographic and add all the great things that you've done, all the metrics you've done, and create that. And then now, since we have video, instead of sending like a regular news, like a regular cover letter, sometimes you send your resume, then you send a cover letter, and you say introduce yourself with video. And a cool thing like this, if you can check if they've seen it, upload it as a private, unlisted video on YouTube, and then send that link to them. And then you can see if they viewed it or not. And so you can expect when to get a response, or maybe you can remind them, maybe it's been like a couple of weeks and they respond to you and you saw that someone saw your video. That's when you can reply to them, because you're they don't know that you saw it, but you know that you saw it. They saw it because you can see that you got one extra view on that video. So cover letters, keep it to 1 minute, introduce yourself. It doesn't have to be all fancy. Just record it on your phone and just upload to YouTube, and then you can actually see if they're visiting it. That's another great tip, right? Okay, this is one thing where I've actually done even till now. It's creating your digital footprints, right? You want to, it's almost like doing like personal branding SEO. You want to make sure you actually create this footprint of yourself. I'm putting like, whether it's like you have your own website, whether you have your own like GMB. That's actually one thing I do. Like I set up my own GMB with my own name. So like if I'm local and they're local, because pretty much you're applying to local jobs, your GMB can pop out with you and like with your name on it. So I have my own local GMB just with my Paul Andre de Vera if you're here in the local Bay Area. And then one hack that I did that actually got me noticed is doing a PPC campaign around your name. All right. I know this is maybe a little more advanced and this may be SEO, but hey, this is about marketing yourself. So if you actually create a PPC campaign around your name, just target your certain areas, it'll be really, really cheap. I mean, how many other Paul Andre de Veras are there? And who's going to bid on that? So you can just bid like a few cents and you'll show up on impressions. And so when the recruiters and the hiring managers search your name, they're like, oh, wow, this guy is right here. And what you do is you create a targeted message. So say that you're applying to a company like Microsoft, right? And on the headline, you go, hey, Microsoft, I'm your next, global marketing lead. And when they see that, when the recruiters see that, it's like, it creates an impression where they're like, wow, he knows how to do all these things. And you're already proving yourself before you even get into the interview. So that is something that I want to share with y'all. I mean, that's some things that you want to feel like, that will help you get you out there, help you get noticed, is by optimizing your personal brand. So hopefully those knowledge bombs helps out.
I mean, I agree all of these 3 steps, by the way. Mm-hmm. And on LinkedIn, one of my connections liked a post which one of my colleagues right now is in the team just because of that video. I saw a video, I just get notice of a video with the newest colleague of ours, and right now he's in the team, and it's because the creative video. It was very creative. Of course, we have some steps of interviews, but it was one of the best way to get notice of this cover. Yeah.
Nice. Good job. All right. So we are now on to getting hired, right? Once you get hired, you want to make sure you can do certain things. Like one of the things I did to get hired at one of the companies that I was at was I created a slide deck. Because you got to remember, SEO is something that you can do all the research beforehand. You can do all this stuff for people without being hired, right? Like all of us do it all the time. We look at other competitors, we look at our own sites, and we don't need to be owners of a site to do some competitive research. So we look up, one of the things I've done was I created a slide deck and creating my 30, 60 day 90 plan. Can you imagine walking into the interview and you have this deck ready? I had actually had my iPad and I was like, within the first 90 days, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make sure you do this right here. I'm going to do this. Like I want to create a press release. I want to do like every single SEO tactic you can, put it in like a slide deck and kind of strategically scope it out. Like, the first 30 days I do this, the next 60 days, and the next 90 days. And then that's something that you can already give them a strategy to do. And if not, and if you don't get hired and you share the deck with them, it's a great gesture. They're going to remember that, because I'll tell you this. I did that one time to a company, provided all that information and gave them like one of the my research, and then I didn't get hired. And then 1 year later, I already got hired on another job. They reached back out. And like, hey, we were impressed that one time. I know it may not have been fit last time we interviewed you. So about 1 year, actually a little bit more of 1 year, about a year and a half later, they came back around and was recruiting me. And I was like, okay, now I had the upper hand, and now they were paying me a lot more than they were offering me even before then. So creating that 60-day 90 plan is something that you can always take to another company and just give it to them as a great gesture. And next is to even do like a technical site audit, right? You can run Screaming Frog on any single website, on any company website that you do. And one of those things, and if you provide these audits for these companies and you show them, and it's being a little more technical too, because I'm almost certain the hiring manager and the hiring manager and recruiter won't be as technical, and they see that you're just technical, and like, I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean you're smart, but like, hey, you know what you're talking about. And then, when you go around your interviews through when they bring in someone technical, you'll speak the same language, which is awesome, because that way, when you make a connection with someone, it makes you even better with if you create that relationship with someone in the interview, they're going to speak highly of you when they regroup up to say talk about you, right? They're like, oh wow, he was technical. Oh wow, he's very creative. Oh wow, he's very innovative. So this is something where if you do this technical audit, you don't need to have access to their site. Run Screaming Frog and then do that, right? Okay. And the next one, this is something that I use to close like pretty much all my gigs. All right, guys. So this is something where you show off real rankings, right? But not only any real rankings, right? You want to make sure you rank for like the position, because one of the things they were like, one of the positions I was applying for was something a search marketing global lead, right? So what I did was, that's a long tail term, right? Who ranks for search marketing global lead? So it's really easy to rank for it, right? So when I optimized a blog for it, search marketing global lead, and then even I think it's still even ranking number 1 right now. But when you search it, and then I came on top. I was coming on top of the of search results. So when I was like, hey, when I was at my last round of interviews, like the main person that's going to call it, like hire me or not, I was like, hey, you know what? I want to become your search marketing global lead, and Google even thinks so. And then I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, oh yeah, you can go search it. Go search marketing global lead, and then it says Paul Andre de Vera, your next search marketing global lead at this company. And they were like, what? So it was one of those things where you can do this stuff ahead of time, and you have that shock value. Can you imagine? Like, and then my last words were, if you hire me, I can do that for the company. Boom! Right? That was a drop right there.
I don't have those keys, but I can make like a boom, and that's it.
There you go. You can do the hand drop, and I'll make the sound for you. Go drop it. Go. There we go.
Thanks. Fun, yeah. So this is the last one, I guess. Be successful, which is one of
okay, yeah, guys. All right. Once you get hired at a corporate company, you have to, like, one of the main things is it's so different than when you were working like as an SEO consultant or even for small companies, because it's a skill that you will most likely be the only one that knows very, very, very well. And in companies, it's all about numbers. It's all about data. It's all about metrics, because it's all about the business. How is SEO going to help the business? So you want to make sure you can communicate this, and work on your public speaking skills, work on your communication skills, work on your presentation skills. This is something where I feel is very, very important. Like I highly recommend any books by Nancy Duarte. Like Resonate is one, and Data Story. Data Story is another one.
Zoom it, yeah.
Yeah. So these two right here. So check those out. Those are some great books that actually help me tell a story within an organization. And you want to make sure you tell with numbers and visuals, because like not necessarily like all numbers. Like it's hard to put all these charts on like an Excel sheet onto a slide. Like who wants to see an Excel sheet on a slide? You want to make sure you can put them and visually present them well. I'm a graphic designer as well from when I graduated from college. So I knew how to create my own slides. But if you don't, you can grab some templates. Just make sure you tell the story. Like put 1 point per graph, right? Maybe you just show like something that's very extensive, like how much one bar is like really, really high, and then tell them what that bar is. That's all the information you need, because it will make your data story a lot more persuasive and a lot more like more of an impact. So that's something you want to do. Storytell visually with data. And there's other companies, there's other organizations out there that can also help you, like even with your public speaking. Like I do something called Toastmasters. I don't know if there's Toastmasters in your organizations, but it's a global organization where everyone helps each other become better speakers, better presenters. And that's something you should definitely check out if you want to become a better communicator. Or you can check out Dre.tv, which is my new channel that I'm actually launching, which I'll be helping people become better communicators, how to be influential within a company, how to be better public speaker, and even presenter online, because now video is even more important. Can you imagine like when you're on a Zoom with me? Like if you come on a Zoom with me, you can be able to have it like a presentation and just be able to be that dynamic on camera, using your hand gestures while you talk. That will get your point across. And even if you're playing with technology like I do, how I can make all this magic happen here on the screen. That's something that can even add more things. So you want to make sure you have to understand the technology. You don't have to be technical, but you can also work on your soft skills, work on your public speaking and communication skills. So another thing is, on top to extend that, is communicate frequently. So because for the most part, when you get hired as an SEO at a company and they're looking for like the head of SEO, most of the times you may be the only one that will like be in that team. You'll be hired as an individual contributor, unless you're like a company that like really focuses on SEO as SEO first. Because a lot of these B2B companies, they'll hire an SEO because they just feel like they need one and they're not doing it. They're just like maybe doing little things here and there. But you'll be hired on as an individual contributor. As an individual contributor, you need to be able to share that information out, and frequently, like share your wins right away. If you get page 1 rankings, share that out. Share it out to leadership. Make sure you even share it out to your teammates, share it out to your stakeholders, because this is something where you can get other people to help you like talk about it to other teammates. Like, hey, wow, SEO helped us gain this many leads. SEO helped us get this much impressions and traffic for our brand. And when people talk, then they'll come to you. That's what you need to do. You want people to come to you and let them know that you're there and within the company. Because if not, it's like you'll be stuck in the corner and no one will know the good things you're doing, and you may actually get bored. They may say like, oh, why do we need this guy? It's like they don't know what you're doing. So you got to remember, a lot of people don't know what SEO is about. You got to show them how technical it is. You got to show them exactly how much of the content you're optimizing, and all the external factors of like how you're reaching out to get more links or even to get some signals and shares. So communicate frequently and share all the metrics you have that you did previously, like I was just talking about, frequently. Send it out like weekly, or even at least the very least monthly reports to just stakeholders. Yeah, just send that out. And the last thing is education. Education is big within a company. Like again, I was telling you, like no one really knows about it and needs to be educated. So every year at every single company I've been at, like even like I've been there for a few years, I'll do an SEO 101 for everyone, and I'll update it with the latest algorithm updates, or if there's any Google changes. Updating, being able to educate your peers will again have them more interested, and then more like, oh, okay, I could do that with my campaign. So they'll make sure they check the box next time they create a campaign. Like, okay, let's have an organic play ready here. What do we need to do to rank here? How can we create that top of funnel content to rank organically for to get that lead, and then drive them down the middle of the funnel, then down to like a form, which possibly PPC can help out. Because with PPC, we're always driving to forms. We can let them handle the bottom of the funnel, and organic search usually handles the upper funnel and middle of the funnel type of content and traffic. So that's something that I do all the time. And another thing I do for people to educate my teams, I create videos. I create internal videos using our company slide deck, and I will create like very generic videos on like how to optimize things. Like I'll even tell them like the very four things to make sure they incorporate the keywords, like whether it's in the title, in the body, and the URL, and H1, right? Just if you can help me do that, they'll make my job easier, and they'll actually make us help us at least get noticed, right? So just give them really basic things that they can understand. You don't have to tell them about schema or anything like that. Just anything. Yeah, just tell them about just adding all the stuff that they can do online, all your content writers. Just give them the very basics. Even like the alt tags, right? You want them to just tell them like how you can, don't just describe the image, incorporate maybe the keyword in the alt tag. Don't just put the keyword or just one word keywords. Make it descriptive. You want to make accessibility, pass the accessibility test, right? So that's something that you should definitely do too. And one of the things here, since I'm talking about accessibility, is like, hey, if you're accessible, you're pretty much good on the technical part for SEO as well. So make sure, and I know a lot of companies are starting to get more, have those accessibility tests and making sure their site is accessible. That's one thing you should definitely work with your accessibility team, because certain things, headers and all that stuff is all different there. But yeah, again, back to the topic, educating your teams, educating your peers will help you become a successful in-house SEO.
Wow, magic.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of magic again, right?
A lot of people could use that. And do you know there is a book called "Are You Smart Enough to Go Work at Google"?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who is the author, but there is a lot of questions at Google, which is not irrelevant with the position name. Like if they searching for an SEO programmer or something like that, they don't ask just about SEO. They ask something logic, like they search for your intelligence. And right now, Bushra is asking you like something like that. SEO is a really broad subject, and my expertise might not include JavaScript SEO, for example. How should I talk about it during interviews? How should she talk about the topic she don't know, the skills she don't have?
Well, the topics you don't. So that's where you say you're going to work with a team. You're a team player. You want to collaborate with your dev team to work with the JavaScript and stuff like that. You're going to show that you'll talk at a high level, because if you don't know JavaScript, you should know what type of JavaScript or what needs to be done, right? Like you should be able to talk to the technical person and have a conversation with them, because they'll understand what you're talking about, even though you don't know how to do it. They're like, oh yeah, we can do that. So being able on the interview, like if they ask you like something like that, say, hey, I'm a team player. I'm very, very collaborative, and I know exactly what needs to be done. Even though if I can execute, I'll definitely work with a team to get it implemented, add it in there, and also create this one thing. One thing that's also big, maybe you can make sure you can say this too, because this is huge. Because when I work with the dev teams, because I don't know JavaScript, right? I mean, I don't know how to do that. I was a web developer, but I was HTML 1.0. That was like very, very long time ago. So what I do is I create business cases. It's almost like even like creating like a Jira like storytelling. When you do an engineering storytelling, when you write the the case and why it matters, and how long it'll take. When you create this Jira ticket or whatever it is, like kind of think of like that Scrum type of thing way, and organize it in a way that you'll give it as a business case. Always present a business case for something to anyone, whether it's technical, whether it's like non-technical. Have a business case ready, and the impact it'll bring, and it'll get done like almost immediately.
Definitely. All right. So I finally have a question, because there is no question as I see. I don't know if it might be not relevant too much with this presentation, but I'm really curious. What is the best way to pitch or to negotiate for an SEO budget if you are in-house?
All right. So this is something that's very, very, very challenging for myself as well, because paid search gets all the money. They'll drop millions. They'll drop millions on paid search, and then I get like, oh, here's 10 grand. So this is something where, again, a business case is very, very important, and you have to show the value right away. So this is something that I've been doing recently to prove value. In a lot of my reports, when I do SEO reporting, I actually show which I'll go into Google Search Console, see which keywords are ranking right, are ranking organic for a page. Then I look at the cost per click for each one of those keywords. I multiply the average of that by the amount of clicks I got from Google, and say, hey, I just saved us 10 grand from paid search if we were going to pay for this term. If you can give me more budget, I can do this for more keywords. And it's a lot easier to tell that story that way, because you say, oh, you can save 10, 20 grand by doing that. So you can grab that 10, 20 grand from the paid search budget and ask them, you can give it to you. And that's a great way to put a monetary value to your organic search. By looking at the cost per click for each keyword, see how much traffic that drove in from Google, because you can't just put by visits, right? Because you have to look exactly from Google, so you know exactly how much it is, and you can get that all within Google Search Console. And that's something that you can always provide to get that added monetary value to your programs.
Wow, thanks. And I would make an effect of magic.
Oh yeah, you you got it.
All right. So the final one, if you want to subscribe to our newsletter, which we send every week on Friday or any day in the week, you can go here and you can subscribe to our newsletter. And thank you very much for being here, Paul. And also, hey, Paul.
Yes.
You're out of this world.
Oh, no. You're out of this world, brother.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me on. Rowan, thank you to the Boost Rojas team. Thank you. You guys are great. I see you guys chatting in there. Thank you for showing up. For those that showed up here, thank you for showing up. And hey, today's Friday, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I go live on YouTube, SEO video show. So check it out.
Yeah. Thanks again, and goodbye, everyone. Good vibes.